Well, Barbara came in to start right. Welcome back, folks, to Talk Story. You just heard a theme song from the Batman, and it's actually one I've been playing it all day. So yes, today we are reviewing our Matt Reeves' new movie, The Batman. Just so you know, this is a spoiler alert. We are going to be spoiling a lot of things in this movie. So if you haven't seen the movie, please, I beg of you to go see the movie first, then come back and listen to what we have to say because there are things in there that I thought was really done well. That was the twist and all that stuff inside. We don't want to spoil it for you, so go back or come back when you're done watching it. And so today we are joined by my favorite guest, my friend David Owen. How you doing, David?
Good. Hey, everybody. Thanks for
Welcome
having me
back.
back. Thank you.
And then we are gonna be joined by Paul, my partner in crime from our movie nerds alert channel. He's having diff,
Technical difficulties.
yeah, it's just weird because he's very tech savvy. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but hopefully he can get it figured out and he'll join us. But if you want to check out our review, it's up. We already review the Batman on our YouTube channel, Movie Nerds Alert. Go check it out, and it is a spoiler review as well. I don't think I'm ever gonna do non-spoiler because I can't do it without talking about the context of the movie, and I don't like it. And so, just so you know, my wife did like this movie or love this movie. She liked this movie, and so
What's her rating at? What was she rated at?
Oh, what would you rank this, babe?
Out of 10 cakes, how many would she give it?
Out of 10 cakes, David said. 8.5. 8.5 cakes. And so a lot of cake. That is a lot of cake. I might be a little bit higher, but we'll talk about it. Right off the bat, before I get started, there has been a lot of talk of where this movie was inspired about. And I'm gonna give a little bit of background of why the Batman is it's probably the best movie of the year so far for me. Let's just say so far. And why was it inspired by a certain event in real life. This was actually a combination of Seven. You get the tone of Seven.
Oh yeah.
What other movie? David Fincher's. A lot of David Fincher's kind of like feel and vibe in this movie. The Zodiac, the movie with Jake Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, that's good.
But it's also that movie and this movie was inspired by a true event which happened in 1960 by the real Zodiac killer. And what he did exactly what the movie did, like the Riddler does. He actually sent a lot of letters to the authorities and kind of like all have this weird encrypted stuff for them to figure out. This is all true story, and it plays so well in this movie, and it's creepy and it's dark. And so they still don't really know if they ever found the real killer. No one ever figured it out.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
it's still like an open case. It never
so
closed.
I'm not sure if it's
cold case.
David, right off the bat, give me your first impression of this movie, and then we're going to go through the movies and we're going to talk about maybe our favorite scenes or our favorite, whatever, and then we're going to talk about some of the things that we didn't like as well, and then we'll go from there. What's your first impression of this movie coming out after you've seen it?
It was dark, way darker than any other Batman films I've seen. Even and The Dark Knight was pretty dark, but this was way darker, I think. So that was my first impression, but it not dark to the point where I don't enjoy it. I was sucked into the story for most of the intricacies of the story. So yeah, first impression, dark, but it brought me in.
When you say dark, Paul's might be joining us soon.
He's trying.
We'll keep going until he comes up. But when you say
when
dark,
I say dark,
what do you mean?
so the whole thing, like the cinematography was dark, the characters were dark, and there was not a whole lot of levity. There wasn't a whole lot of like light humor in this
Mm.
movie. It was a very serious tone for most of the movie. That, and every character in this movie is broken except for Jim Gordon. He's the only one that's not like broken or suffering some kind of trauma or like mental illness. So it's dark.
I do say, okay, this is what I said in my review. I say this is the best Batman being Batman movie ever.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a detective film too.
And that's how his character is. This is
Yeah.
inspired by
Year
One.
One? Yeah.
And
Hush.
Hush and the Long Halloween
Okay.
comic series, I think. So
I'm
it's
not familiar with that one.
It's the culmination of that all into this one. Matt Reeves is one of my favorite director. I love the Apes.
He did the Planet of the
movie.
Apes trilogy,
Yeah.
the new one.
Well, he did the second and the third. He didn't do the
Oh,
first
he didn't
one.
do the first one.
Yeah, that was somebody else. But the first one was good too. So I'm not sure why that I don't know who did the first one, but he did. It was a good job. And so, but Matt Reeves took over, and I think he made it.
He hasn't had a whole lot of directing experience, has he?
I don't know. I don't know all his movies. I just know he did the Apes. Apes. He did
some like TV shows.
Yeah, TV show as well.
But his first feature length film was Cloverfield.
Cloverfield. Okay.
Yeah,
I like that movie. It wasn't too bad.
Let Me In. I don't know what Let Me In is, but Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, War for the Planet of the Apes, and that was the last one he directed until the Batman, at least according to IMDb.
True.
So,
okay.
But yeah.
So, let's talk. I think this movie. I feel like that is dark, and the tone. The funny thing is the cinematography of this movie is actually the same person who did Rogue One, and you can see the way he shot the movie, how Batman is in the dark and then comes, be brought out to the light, the same way Darth Vader did in Rogue One. That was him.
Yeah. And you thought that felt familiar.
And you see the same kind of technique when Batman goes into that club, and it's pitch black, but you see the machine gun lights up as he fight. Yeah, it's the same thing with Darth Vader
and the lightsaber
coming out. So you get that sense of his cinematography in that film. My first impression of this movie was I wasn't sure if this was better than Dark Knight, the second one of Nolan's trilogy. I love the Dark Knight. I love the Joker in Dark Knight. Now the Batman, everybody was great too. All the others, Joker was more of the supporting role, but the main character and everybody else was fine too. But the Dark Knight made it for me because of the Joker.
Yeah.
But I still get a sense of like, I feel like it's not as grounded, but this one, you can tell it's very grounded. And I mean by, I can believe that this Batman can exist in our reality.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, the Christian Bale, the Dark Knight one, I guess you get the sense of that, but he had all these tech, these stuff. This one he built, you can see he built his car. Man, that Batmobile.
Yeah, that I like that Batmobile. It gave me chills, man.
Yeah.
Just the sound of it when it's revving up before that chase scene. Oh, that was awesome.
That was awesome. I love it. And so, all right, we actually got our third panelist here. Paul has joined us. Paul, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. So this is my partner in crime. We've been together doing our movie reviews for like 4 years? Maybe longer. 2017 was our first time together.
Our first review was Spider-Man Homecoming.
It was. So, here, let me see.
I've been at this for a minute.
Can you still hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So, Paul, we've already talked about a little bit of what our first impression, and you and I already had our reviews up for our YouTube channel. But let us know what's your first impression of the Batman once you saw that movie.
It was very dark, and not in like a bad way, like a dark good, broody Batman way, like very Arkham Knight, like Arkham Asylum type.
I like that. By the way, can you put your camera up a little bit? Your head is cut off. There you go. There you go. There you go. By the way, I forgot to introduce. That's my buddy David Owen. He's from our mission, and this is Paul.
Yeah.
Cool. I've seen you around.
Yeah.
Commented on our
we're
comments.
Connected on social media. I've commented on your YouTube channels.
For sure.
Okay. So let's for some reason the theme is that like it's dark. And I think that's the good thing. It's not a bad thing, like Paul says. David, let me ask you a question. Let's talk about like, what are some things that you like about this movie? Something that really stood out to you when you were watching this?
So there's a couple of things. So first, you said that this is probably the most grounded. The thing that I like about this one over the Christopher Nolan The Dark Knight is all of his tech, you just assume that it works. Whereas in The Dark Knight, they explain it. There's exposition, and this movie didn't need that. So like his contact lenses, there's no explanation. He just pulls it out, he puts it on his computer, and it does its thing, right? There's no explanation as to why it does what it does.
So you're telling us that Christopher Nolan thought that the audience is stupid.
Exactly. Yeah. You need to explain it all. I mean, when that came out and I saw it, I appreciated it. But at the same time, like, this is Batman. I'm going to suspend my reality on some of it. Just show me what it does. Don't tell me how it does what it does. And so I appreciate that from the Batman. So that's one thing I like. There was no explanation on the tech. The other thing that stuck out to me that I liked is they didn't hide the black makeup under the cowl. Every other Batman movie hides that. The fact that he paints around his eyes black, they didn't hide that at all. They actually use that really well, to Paul's point, to make him more brooding, more dark.
Yeah.
So I liked that.
I was kind of watching to that point as well. Like I was rewatching The Dark Knight Rises earlier, and you notice how like Christian Bale, when he's got the cowl on, his eyes are just black. You don't see the whites of his eyes. And I like that you could see the whites of Robert Pattinson's eyes, because it shows he's more, there's like a human still under there, and he's angry. He's got like an agenda. Whereas The Dark Knight, you kind of just like, it's Batman. He's just kind of there, you know?
You know, I'm going to say something that's pretty blasphemous. Like a lot of people, because people think, look, Dark Knight was, I think, Paul, we did a list. I think I put Batman, The Dark Knight, number one,
yeah.
And I had Man of Steel, which I think should be 1A, 1B in my opinion. But I digress. The one thing about The Dark Knight, the Nolan trilogy, that I didn't like was his third act, and that is the boat scene. The whole entire movie was about Batman and Joker and Two-Face, and the relationship and the connection between all three of them, and the mayhem, the chaos that the Joker caused, and then the Batman and the Two-Face, or Harvey Dent at that time, trying to fix the chaos. And then you jump into the third act and you put in this scenario of letting people figure out on their, like, making decision who will blow up. Guys, we all have kids, right?
Right.
We all, if we were in that boat and we know there are criminals at the other side, I'm sorry, excuse my language, I'm fucking pressing the button. I don't you give me, I'm not letting my kids die. There were kids on that boat. Reality is, I think as a parent, I would want to push the button so that my kids can be safe.
Yes, that's not very realistic.
No, because I will live with the.
I agree.
I will live with the consequence. I will live with the consequence, but at least my kids will be safe. Any parents would do that, and that's the part where I feel like The Dark Knight kind of dropped off towards the end for me. And so, because of that reason, I think I put Superman number 1 now.
Man of Steel's top of that year, huh?
Well, yeah. So yeah. Anything else, Paul? You have anything else? I know you could go into it. We have plenty of time.
There's a lot. Yeah. Well, like the whole movie sets this, like, from the very beginning, it sets this precedent that this is a new like Batman. He's not he's not like Batfleck where he's been in this business a while. He's already fought the Riddler. He's already fought Penguin. Like you can tell from some of the dialogue in those movies, he's already done that.
True.
And this is his first big bad that he's fought against. Up until now, it's been
Well,
like petty street crime and
well, let me give you a theory before you go.
go for it.
We saw the ending of this movie, and we saw who's
The Joker
in
was already in Arkham,
Kokom, and this is his first year.
and the first this is
Oh,
second
no,
year,
second year. So
second year,
has he already had dealings with
and
the
he
Joker?
the first gang he went to fought was they were all face painted like the
Face painted.
Joker.
And there is a scene in the movie where he goes into the Riddler's house, and there's all that picture, and there's a picture of Robert Pattinson with the smiley face in the back.
Oh yeah.
So we know that he's been
Okay.
stalking. So the theory could be that he's already.
So maybe
fought-
Joker was.
The
Was he
first-
the Joker then?
No,
Did
I
he
don't think he
become the
was the
Joker?
Joker then, but maybe he was something else that got put in there, and then he later will become the Joker. I don't know. So
Okay.
at least we know for sure that this is his sophomore years, as I call it, and so we don't know anything what he did in the freshman year, and so.
Right.
But keep going.
But
Sorry, Paul.
a lot of what is happening now is kind of shaping him as we see him, and not
Yeah.
you're not just kind of guessing what happened. Like in Batman v Superman, you see that Robin's already dead. That means that he's been Batman for a long time.
Long time.
And it's kind of a cool new take without being an origin story. It's a cool new take on Batman and what he's capable of, what kind of tech he has, regardless if it's explained or not. But I appreciate it. I like it.
Yeah, I like that too. We're not stupid, Nolan. Come on,
Yeah.
man. Gosh dang it. Now now I look back like I feel stupid now.
Yeah.
Same thing with Inception. He does do a lot of explaining. Now
He
I think about
does.
it.
In-
He does have
yeah.
a lot of exposition in a lot of
Except
things.
for Memento, he didn't really.
No,
There
Memento.
was a
He
whole
let
lot of
us. Let's guess.
explanation.
So,
Yeah.
anything else? Yeah. Anything guys jump out to you?
You know what I noticed today? I was watching Lego Batman,
Uh-huh.
and you know who plays Catwoman? Zoe Kravitz.
No
Oh, she
way.
does?
Yeah,
Wow, that's
look
a
it
deep
up.
cut.
That is
Interesting.
that's weird, right?
Well, she was actually supposed to be in. She was. She auditioned for the Nolan Catwoman.
Oh,
did she?
really?
Yeah,
She
but
should've gotten
she
that
turned
one.
it down.
So something that did stick out to me is the fight choreography was awesome. It was so good. Yeah, even for Catwoman, the Catwoman character, like that, the fight choreography was awesome. It was believable.
Yeah.
Like the brutality that Batman has. It's it's very believable.
Okay, this might be another controversy that I say. I think Anne Hathaway was a great Catwoman. And I
Really?
think I feel like
Okay.
I don't think people have this persona of Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman, like this sexualized, like, oh yeah, I'll touch my booby, stuff like that. No,
Whoa.
it doesn't do for me, like I feel like the more realistic Catwoman are Anne Hathaway, and now I believe is Zoe Kravitz. I think her Catwoman is so realistic, and it's not like she's they're not like making her into this like sex symbol type of thing, like you're wearing tight costume and like really emphasize on it. Like she just wear what she wear. Our focus was her dialogue, her chemistry with Robert Pattinson, the Batman, and her and the acting, and it works for me. Like there was nothing like you don't have to have her say meow and lick her hand and
Right. Well, that whole movie was kind of on tone with that whole thing.
Yeah,
though.
it was
And I
super,
agree.
super campy.
Yeah, and I agree with that. But at the same time, like I feel like this is more really grounded, and it's more believable that that's the Catwoman. I mean, she says like lines like "I have nine lives," which we get what the reference is. She's a
Right.
cat, and so. But I think her and Robert Pattinson has a very good chemistry. I didn't think, even though I like Anne Hathaway and Christian Bale, I don't think their chemistry was as good as these two, and so
Felt a little more forced.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It felt forced. Like Anne Hathaway was just kind of saying her lines, and you didn't know if she was like serious in her
That's a good-
delivery, or if she
yeah.
was gonna like make a joke afterwards. You're like kind of waiting for her to make a quip or say just kidding. It's
Yeah.
like she was good, but like you were kind of confused to where that line was. And to
My
go back to what Dave was saying about the action,
okay.
I actually turned to my wife and I was like, you notice how there hasn't been like a cut
Nope.
during this whole fight scene, and the camera's like kind of still. It's just a steady shot, a steady wide shot of the choreography, and I really appreciate that in a movie, considering the garbage we've seen in the past. And I'm not going to name names, but
No, we can name names here, dude. We're allowed to
just
name names.
Yeah, I watched.
any
I watched.
Marvel movie.
Yeah, well, I watched Batman Begins a couple nights ago, and that the action is very close, and there are a lot of cuts, so it's
Well-
hard to follow what the fight is doing. And I think Christopher Nolan learned from that. And the next two movies, there wasn't so much
Yeah.
of that going on, but this one was done really well.
Yeah, for sure.
That one scene, the beginning when he walks, I love the the what do they call the monologuing, I guess, the
The narration.
narration, and the music. We talked about this in our the
Yeah.
music
Yeah.
is so epic. And I was telling Paul in our review is that who's the composer of this? I gotta find
Yeah,
out.
who did
John
the
Williams?
score?
John's who did the music in this? Sure, I can't say his name. What the heck is his name? Where is it at? I'm looking for it, folks. Just hang on tight. If anybody in the chat,
Michael
we don't have chat.
Michael Giacchino.
There you go. And so he works with John Williams, and you can see the theme if you go back and listen, Dave. It's the same as Darth Vader, the beginning note. You
Really?
get the same. Yeah, go listen to the Imperial
Okay.
March, and then go and listen to the Batman theme. It sounds
check it
the
out.
beginning. It sounds, and man,
That's awesome.
we were talking about in our review the same thing with Dune, and I wanted to mention this in our review. Dune and this movie uses the music to up the scene, to make it more epic, and it worked for both movies. I thought it was fine. And that scene when with the penguin, and I love that car chase scene.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
very realistic, and he put cameras on different angle of the car. Everything was so practical, and it worked. And I love that the shot when the penguin car flipped and you see the Batman coming upside down, just like a
Yeah.
bat in real life. Bat, they stand upside down.
I wish they had left that out of the trailer.
I
Because that
know.
was such
Oh,
a
yeah.
good shot
I know.
that I was like, oh, I've seen it before. It was still good, but I've
But
seen
it-
it before.
it doesn't have the
but to
same
see it for the
impact.
first time. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I think that scene was so good. Anything else that jump out to you guys you want to talk about?
I had one and then I forgot it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
let
me
me
too.
let me ask you guys a question, and I've asked this on our review too. I already know Paul's. Dave, where I'm gonna save that question for the end.
All
I'm gonna do it
right.
at the end,
All right.
because that's too good to ask.
Oh, here's one thing that stuck out to me.
okay.
When they went into that club, the Iceberg Lounge or the 44 Below, whatever it's called,
A club within the club. Yeah,
the club within the club. Is that a nod to Inception? I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyway, when they go in to get Falcone, which is different,
Oh.
they pronounce it different than in the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
When they go in to get Falcone and they come out, I forgot about the Riddler for a little bit
Yeah.
until he gets shot, and I'm like, oh yeah, they got to freaking close this story.
What's funny is that the entire time that the club scene, if you go back and watch, there's that one scene when the first time when Batman goes in there and he came out, and then they pan out of the club and you can see like the city. There's a
Mhm.
little light that's turned on, and that's the Riddler. But you wouldn't
Oh.
think about it because we don't know
Yeah,
that the
that-
Riddler's here. But that's how he got
Yeah.
all the pictures of all the politician coming out of the club. So he was right there the entire time. In fact, when Batman flew out, when he jumped off the building and coming down, he flew right past the Riddler's place.
Dude, that scene was awesome.
I need to
Like,
watch it again. I
He
need to watch
had never, like, you can tell, like, his the way he portrayed it, he'd never done anything like that before. Like he was prepped for it, but he had never tried.
And I'm glad they made it more
Human. He
human.
was
Yeah.
just like, I've done this. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he made that mistake trying to land on the bus and hit the bridge. That was pretty
Oh
intense.
my gosh, that was a brutal. Like I winced because
cringed.
I was like,
Yep,
that,
I did too.
I felt that.
I don't know how he got up from that. I would just lie there like I give
Don't
up.
need to explain the tech. It just
I know,
works.
yeah.
Just
It works because it works.
So,
It's armor.
his armor and his armor is
Bulletproof armor.
his batsuit is pretty awesome.
I like that design. Yeah, the
I like
costume
it. Like
design
it
in
too.
this movie was really cool. For all of it. So the trailer, I did not expect it to be modern. I expected it to be like an older setting.
Mm.
I was expecting something like, I don't know, like 20s or like 50s or something like that based on the trailer. I was like, this is going to be like an old, really, really old tech, but turned out not to be. So that I was a little bit surprised about that, but it worked for me.
Like a Gotham by Gaslight. That one.
Yeah, well, maybe not that. Maybe not
That
that
old?
old, but like 50s maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the Batman for a second. I feel like at the beginning of the movie, I told Paul, I feel the same way. I feel like this is the best Batman being Batman movie ever. You get the detective part. Now, I explained this in the review too. We'll talk about it too. I don't think he's a seasoned pro detective yet because he did make mistakes. There were some things he didn't understand, or didn't the interpretation of that word that he kind of mixed that. But I love I love Matt Reeves taking care of the Batman in a way that every detail that he looks at is a clue, and that he's thinking he's trying to be a step ahead of everybody. And I people say this is such a slow burner. I have one guy on Facebook comment on my post that says this morning was so boring I fell asleep.
What?
And I'm like, what? I don't. Then you're not a Batman fan if that's the case. You're already going in thinking that it's going to be bad, and so. But and then I have another fool who thinks this Batman is 6 out of 10. I wanted to slap him silly, but that's a different day.
6 out of 10. Boy.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Yeah, it's like, but I feel like his portrayal of Batman is actually more not relatable, but kind of like understanding why he's feeling and why he's so brutal towards towards these guys. Because that one scene in the beginning when he popped out and he beat up those clowns, Robert Pattinson suggested to Matt Reeves, let him keep pounding him. So the scene was supposed to be cut where he punched him and he goes on the ground, but Robert Pattinson told Matt Reeves, let me keep pounding him to show the brutality of this character. And you feel it. You feel how damaged this person is.
Yeah.
We get Ben Affleck. He's a seasoned pro. He's already past this. He's like what? He's in season. He's what, like 40 years into it? I don't know.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
But
I think that's what they said, 40 years.
But the difference is that he kills in that Batman. He actually would kill.
Oh yeah.
He's at that point in his life. He's like, I'm done capturing these guys, and they bring him back to the street, and I'm just gonna get rid of them.
They're like weeds, Alfred.
But you get this sense of this Batman where he doesn't want to kill, but he has so much anger. He wants them to suffer the pain that he caused them. And I was telling Paul, I don't see any other Batman in all the Batman movies that have the portrayal Bruce Wayne and Batman as a damaged person, and Robert Pattinson is an exceptional actor. We all agree that in this movie, all the acting is incredible. We don't even need to talk about it. All the acting and everything is so. We already know how great Robert Pattinson is in this one, and so
he's definitely more of a vengeful Batman than we've seen in the past. Like in the past, we've seen like these more detective, like he is doing detective work, but he's more doing it out of vengeance. Like he needs to find answers right now. He's like looking at everything, but he's kind of mad at everything at the same time. He's not going out about it a smart way. Like the pounding of that one guy, he pounded him, but why? Because he can. not because like he needed to.
Well,
Like,
he does need to keep that persona up, though. He does say
right.
his. The thing is, people. The funny thing is, they don't even call him the Batman in this movie. Everybody call him Vengeance. Think about it. That word comes out of people's mouth more than the Batman.
That's true. Yeah.
If you go back and
Yeah.
watch it, and so he has to keep that reputation of him being this brutality character. And like, if you like, in the beginning, he says, when you see that light lined up, I want fear to be in you. And the way that the first scene that came out, I mean, I feel it. I'm like,
The creepy pumpkin head.
oh yeah, that dude, he saw it.
Oh,
He
yeah.
saw
He
it.
just-
Like, okay.
and looked in the dark and ran away. So
But
Didn't
yes.
did they play into that in the Dark Knight as well? Like,
yeah, they
people
did.
looking
It
up at
opened similar to that. Yeah.
yeah, they look up at the bat signal and they're not tonight, man. He's like, oh, he's a myth.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but it was, yeah, it
still
wasn't-
important to take on.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to join? What do you think of Patterson portrayal of the Batman, Dave?
So how many Batman have there been? What, 7? So Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Ben Affleck. This is not including
Christian
voice
Bale.
actors, right?
Christian
Christian
Bale.
Bale. So 6, and Robert Pattinson. So 7 live action feature length film actors portraying it.
Yeah.
Unless you want to go into TV.
God. Nah.
No.
The animated series.
I mean, Kevin Conroy's voice, like, how can you get past that? He's iconic.
Yeah, he is.
I just he can do the whole thing. He could just do the voice. So I think he did an awesome job. Like, and there was only like a couple of things that were like humorous, right? When in the beginning where he comes out and he puts on his sunglasses because it's just so bright. But he in his opening monologue, he was like, I become a nocturnal creature. And so coming out into the light, obviously it's going to hurt his eyes. He's been out at this for 2 years. So, man, I thought it was good. He did a really good job. I don't know what else to say.
I agree.
I feel like I was telling Paul this too. He's more of a like the Bruce Wayne is the mask.
Yes.
The Batman is really him, and they play that perfectly because I believe I'd have to go back and watch it, but I believe he was Batman more than he was Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Oh, for sure.
Yes.
So,
Definitely.
and I get that sense of like which personality comes in more here, and it seems like to be the Batman. Now,
yeah.
going forward, I believe that he will have to play the part, and that is he has to be Bruce Wayne at a certain point, and he has to play that part to be able to save his city. And I believe that might, be in the sequel.
Yeah.
You can see him being more, because my wife has an issue with him being emo. She has an issue. She has.
Well, I kind of touched that in a review.
Yeah, you
I
did.
wish they had differentiated a Bruce Wayne and a Batman, because
Yeah, they didn't really do that.
they
Like,
need-
even at that funeral for the
yeah,
mayor,
exactly.
he
And
comes
that
out
was
and
like
he
the
almost
longest scene.
he almost gives himself away too, like a
That's
lot in that scene, which I think that was good for the audience, right? To really understand that he is so involved with his role as the Batman that he has a hard time hiding it when even in public in the daylight.
Yeah, he's not going about it smart. He's going about it vengeful.
Yes.
angry.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Did you notice the guy at the end that he's beaten after he gives himself a shot of adrenaline or whatever it was to
It's the
pull
same
himself out
guy
of-
from the
same guy from the
funeral.
funeral.
Yeah.
The guy that says I am vengeance.
Yeah,
And that
when he-
kind of that's what triggers that character, right? So I thought
Yeah.
that was done really well.
Yeah, remember when when Bruce Wayne was standing in the funeral place, and he there was a guy next to him talking to him, man, something
He
about
got what he
this-
deserved.
He got what he deserved, and then he turns and it's like vengeance or something. He says,
Oh,
vengeance.
that's right. That's right.
That's the same guy. Yeah, it's the same guy, and so he's part of the group of the
I was
Riddler.
wondering why I said that. It didn't click till now, but
Yeah, let's talk about the Riddler. Where do you rank him in villains when it comes to the Batman movie?
Paul Dano as an actor himself has amazing range, and I feel like as a villain, like the Riddler villain is probably up there with I would argue Heath Ledger's Joker.
Mm,
He doesn't
wow.
need makeup. He doesn't need like a
Well, I mean,
costume. He doesn't need anything. He has his dialogue and he has his emotion and he has his like, his like supervillain monologue he does. That's all he does to intimidate the audience. And I was sitting back and I was surprised. I was like, this this
This
guy's
dude's a creep.
he's a
creep.
great man. So that's what I thought.
Yeah, the Joker, for reasons, because he's the Joker, he uses his dark humor a lot in his character, and the Riddler doesn't. He's just
Mhm.
a psycho murderer. So as far as the level of creep, yes, the Riddler in this movie is more so than the Joker. But as far as like intricate villainy plot and plan,
Uh-huh.
the Joker's in the Dark Knight was more intricate, but the Riddler's, I feel like it was more realistic. Like the motivation was actually, it was a real motivation. Something, it wasn't just some men want to watch the world burn. It was, I was wrong.
Oh, he had a reason.
He had a reason behind it. He was his motivation was real.
Yeah.
It really reminded me of like kind of a jigsaw type thing.
Yeah.
Like
So I was
less intricate in the killings, but definitely the motivation. Like you did something wrong, you're gonna pay for it.
right. It was
What
pretty
about you,
intricate
John?
though.
I love the fact that this movie was almost a true crime movie.
Yeah.
It is a true
Yes.
crime movie, and trying to catch a serial killer. It's like watching Forensic Files. You guys ever watch Forensic Files?
No.
Yeah, it has cases about serial killer and stuff. In fact, the funny thing is, oh, this is such a side note. I was watching it the other day, and the murder among Mormons case. Remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it came on Forensic File, and
Oh,
I was like,
really?
yeah, it was crazy, dude.
Jeez.
Let me ask. Let's talk about the bad thing. That is there things that we didn't like? I know this movie isn't perfect, but I feel like that there's some stuff in there that we can talk about that we didn't like. Paul, you want to go first?
Like I said before, like I wish there was a more different, like a noticeable difference between Batman and Bruce Wayne, and
Yeah.
also Bruce Wayne slash Batman with Alfred, because he's a completely different kind of Bruce Wayne in front of Alfred, and he didn't have that same relationship with Alfred that you've seen in previous movies, and like again, he's not going about it smart. He's going about it vengeful, and he's kind of taking
Yeah.
it out on Alfred because he knows both sides of the story. And I kind of felt bad for Alfred, and I kind of felt bad for Andy Serkis because he did great, but he's only
Yeah.
in like 10% of the movie. Um, so I wish Andy Serkis had a bigger part. Um,
I like the fact that they
yeah,
made him like when he was trying to decode, like in Zodiac, in with Jake Gyllenhaal was that kind of that guy, so he became that guy. So I thought it was
okay.
pretty cool.
Like
Um,
that's really my only like beef with this movie is that it just didn't. He was sad all the time,
oh, okay.
but again, he's damaged. He hasn't gotten that maturity level yet.
I agree. I agree. What about you, Dave? Do you have any
The
bad?
God, it's hard, man. It's hard to come up with something
Right?
bad. If I had to be nitpicky though,
Yeah.
I would say, gosh, okay. I'm gonna get nitpicky here. There were a lot of side stories.
Yeah.
There were a lot, right? Like they introduced Catwoman's backstory and why she's involved with Falcone, and then
Which is right
the
off
story.
right out of the comics, by the way.
I kn-
That's the dad.
I know, but like there was a lot, and then you get
Is that
the
canon? I didn't know
Salvatore
that.
Maroni and the Carmine Falcone like rivalry, and then they've got the Thomas Wayne and Martha Wayne history and Martha Wayne's parents, and they introduce all these things, which I know is grounded in the source material. It's just it's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
So it being nitpicky, too many side stories.
Side story. So I agree.
And then the Penguin and Colin Farrell's not even in it that much, but what
Well,
he's
he
in
This
is
the best
great.
part.
Yeah, he was great.
so good. He was so
But
good.
yeah, they've and I'm happy to hear that he's getting a spin-off on HBO Max as the Penguin.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
So that'll be good to kind of fill the power vacuum of Carmine Falcone being assassinated. So, but yeah, I think there's just a lot going on the sides.
Okay. I know Paul.
But that, again, that's nitpicking.
I know Paul's gonna disagree with this, but the actor who played Falcone, what's his name, Paul?
John Turturro,
John Turturro.
my boy.
I believe this might be a little controversial. I think he was miscast.
Who would you have picked instead?
Oh, you know what?
Joe Pesci.
Maybe,
Just kidding.
maybe,
like
or even
1994.
Robert De Niro. I think he could play, but he's just not believable. I feel like every time he comes on screen, I just see him as from the guy from Transformer. Jokey,
like his worst role.
and I know he's a good
Out of the
actor.
entire
So,
book he has under his belt, like
Yeah.
and I know that he's a good actor, but man, I just don't see him in this role as Falcone, and I feel like he was miscast in my opinion.
You mentioned in our review that the guy who plays Falcone in The Dark Knight, that's who you liked, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
What's the
Begins.
name?
Dude, I don't know. I gotta find out.
He's done a lot too.
Yeah. Look it up, Paul. What's the guy's name?
I'm trying to think of who I would have rather seen in that role. Because I get, now that you mention it, I guess I could agree with
yeah.
you.
What's that dude's name? Sorry.
This would be way out there, but what would you think of somebody like Brad Pitt in that role?
Dude, I watch anything he's in. Bullet Train. Did you see that trailer?
I'm excited for that movie. I want to see that. And then he's going to be in that one with Channing Tatum and Sandra Bullock. That looks funny too.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, Brad Pitt can do anything.
Yeah.
I have his picture up,
but could he do Carmine Falcone?
He's sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm looking on my phone too.
Like it brings up his picture, it doesn't bring up the actor's name.
Are you looking for the actor that played Falcone in the
we're trying to figure it out.
Batman Begins?
What's his name?
Tom Wilkinson.
We're in a race. Oh yeah.
Tom Wilkinson.
That
was some good content right there,
guys. We're searching. Tom, what's his name? Tom what?
Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah, and he's a seasoned pro. He's been on a lot of movie, and I believe him to be Falcone more than this guy, and I feel like he was miscast. That's one thing I didn't like. The other one I didn't like is the fact it's too long. I talk about this. It could have been cut at least 15 minutes, maybe even 30, and so. And then what else?
Every time you think the movie's going to end, it keeps.
Yeah, it almost ended like 3 times, and you're
like, Falcone's dead. Natural ending. Nope, the Riddler's still out there. Okay, they caught the Riddler. Natural ending. No. Nope, he planted bombs. Okay, it blows up. Batman sacrifices himself on the wire. Okay, natural ending. Let's leave it on. Nope, keep going. He's walking people out.
This movie almost, you could argue that it could be a perfect standalone Batman movie. Like, no need for a sequel. No need to like spin off characters or anything. If they had just left this movie as is, I'd be okay with it.
Wasn't that the original plan? Was to just do a one-off Batman, like early Batman,
kind of like Joker
film?
I don't know.
I thought that was what the plan was.
Well, here's the thing.
It's not part of the bigger DCEU.
No,
right?
it's not.
Like Peacemaker is, but this won't be.
I mean, can you imagine if this was I don't think you can have this iteration of the Batman to be in the same as like Peacemaker. It just doesn't go.
Yeah, it
No,
doesn't.
It doesn't go. By the way, Paul, have you finished Peacemaker?
No, I have not. But it's okay. You can talk spoilers.
Oh no. I was just wondering because I know me and Dave we've already finished it. So
Okay,
just wondering
no,
what your
I haven't
thought.
finished it. But back to Batman being part of like that universe.
Yeah.
Do you think now, with how well this movie is doing, they'll put in like they'll sprinkle in a little cameo in the Flash movie?
They could. I don't know if
I'm
they
gonna
will, but they
say
Keaton
could.
no.
is there, Batfleck is there, like
I'm gonna say no
no.
because the tone, it's just not the same.
Okay.
I that's just I feel like if it would throw me off. It's
It
like
would make it too cheesy, I think.
yeah,
I don't
it's
know.
almost like putting
Kind of
Deadpool.
undo everything it did.
It's like putting Deadpool in the Avengers movie. It doesn't go. It doesn't. His character doesn't it hasn't been introduced yet. So it's kind of like if you throw him in there, you're like, wow, what's that's kind of like out of nowhere. I don't think this Batman will be in the Flash, in my opinion, because the rumor. I know we're talking about Batman, but we're talking about the Flash right now. But it is rumored that this Flash movie is a reboot of the DCEU.
Are they
He
going to
will-
pull a Days of Future Past
Yes.
on us, huh?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's gonna go
Hmm.
back and he's gonna he basically gonna wipe out Wonder Woman. I don't know if they actually no, I don't know if they're gonna keep Wonder
It's
Woman.
going to be like a Flashpoint timeline
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and
Okay.
everybody's gonna be different. It's not gonna be the same Superman.
But
which
they've
I-
got multiple Flashes, iterations of the Flash in this movie.
I don't
At
know.
the same
Is
space-time.
Grant Gustin in it?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I couldn't confirm or deny. But there's
Yeah.
that one scene in the trailer where there's three of them standing there. There's two
Right.
Ezra Miller and then a female. I think
Okay. Because
Yeah.
Ezra Miller did appear in The Flash.
yeah,
he
I
did.
remember-
That's
the
right.
TV
He did
show.
do it in
I've
the
seen that.
series.
That was very cool.
So yeah, so I don't know if this Batman can actually exist in that universe. It just doesn't. It wouldn't feel right to me, at least.
They'd have to make the Flash movie less campy than
And
what
that can't be.
character is.
I don't think it'll be.
Because
less
I mean,
campy.
in Zack Snyder did, there was a little bit, but for the most part, that character had his dark moments in the very end, where he reverses the unity in Zack
Mhm.
Snyder's Justice League. That was pretty dark, and if they kept that character for the Flash, maybe it could work, but it would have to be way less campy than we've
Restore
seen
the
that.
Snyderverse.
You know what? After seeing
I'm
this,
on board with that hashtag.
but after seeing this, I don't want it, dude. I don't want it anymore.
No.
It's
Well, it doesn't have to be attached to. The
I agree.
Snyderverse.
but you're gonna
Because
have to.
Well, think about comic books themselves. Like, there's the canon, and then you have like different comic books that have nothing to do with the original storyline.
Yeah,
So it's kind of like what DC is doing now. Like, Joker has its own movie. Batman has its own movie. They're gonna reboot the DCU with Flashpoint. So it kind of
Yeah.
makes sense. I appreciate it. I mean, it's cool what they're doing with the MCU. Like, it's big, huge one thing, but that it kind of puts themselves in a box. Like, despite
Yeah.
having like a multiverse, but
It
they're
has
still in
to
a box.
it has to be connected at this point. It
Yeah,
has
exactly.
to be. Like even What If had to be connected.
oh,
Yeah.
So
I'm so excited for Doctor Strange, guys. I'm so excited. So many Easter eggs in there, so many speculation. But anyways, let's
Did
get
you guys
back
have any? Did you guys have any like any thought that there was going to be some kind of weird cameo in the Batman?
I
Like
didn't.
connecting
I
it
never.
to any other thing?
I never wanted it. I never thought about
Yeah.
it. Like
I didn't either until they were talking about Thomas Wayne. I was like, what if they show Thomas Wayne and it's the Thomas Wayne in Joker? I would have been
Oh
like,
yeah,
kind
that
of
would have been interesting.
kind
if
of
they did
cool.
that.
Wait,
would've
say
been
that
kinda cool.
again.
The actor who plays Thomas Wayne in Joker,
Uh
I thought that's who was going to show
huh.
up when they
Oh,
were talking about Thomas Wayne.
okay. Okay.
And then he didn't. I was like, oh, okay. Never mind.
Nah.
Sorry.
So I mean, we do know for sure the next one. Oh, by the way, I do love the fact that they gave the Waynes like a backstory. Not a good,
Yeah,
not a
a
good
dark
backstory, a
good
dark backstory. And the fact that it's okay to Thomas, we always did this. Thomas Wayne was his, you know, Boy Scout guy. I like the fact that he made a mistake, and it happens to all of us, and that. And he was trying to protect his wife. I think that goes back to what I was talking about in The Dark Knight. You would do anything to protect your children. He was trying to protect his wife, and he would do anything. And in that passion, he made a mistake by asking Falcone to help him. And so I love that. I love there's so many different like little stuff that they add into the life of a Batman that you didn't thought, oh, that's pretty cool. The fact that his mom was in a mental institution that had to do with her
parents murder suicide.
That's like crazy, dude.
That's
like,
again,
what?
this is dark. That's dark.
Is that canon, or is that just something they?
I don't know. I think it might be canon, but I have to go and check. But I don't know. Even if it isn't, I
mean, not a lot in this is canon.
Yeah, and so I'll take it as it is, because it made more sense for it to understand that the Wayne isn't that all that perfect, and it makes sense for why the Riddler was going after Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Now it's funny when you guys talk about, here's some Easter egg that was pretty cool. Did you notice the card that the Riddler would leave for the Batman? It's the same way that the Zodiac killer in real life left for the Authority. But did you notice the two card that had an old woman with the phone and the other one with an old man looking at an envelope? Did you notice that? That actually happened because when Alfred got the package, she's looking at it, and when the bomb went off, the lady called.
The lady was on the phone. Oh, what? Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty interesting to connect. There's some other. I love the fact that, man, the third act of this movie was just like any Dark Knight. It was a little weak, a little rushed, and it was more now. It's like you have the first two act that was like raw, grounded, like this is
slow roll,
and then you go into like, okay, now it becomes a comic book a movie when you have Batman comes in and kick it, do all this stuff, multiple stuff going on. So now it's kind of like, well, you said in the beginning you can't be there at in different places all that you can't be there,
can't be everywhere at once. He said, yeah.
So, but in this case, he had them everywhere, down up there, down here. He was everywhere, in the air, cutting the rope. So it's kind of like, well, now the comic book part came into the play, and I thought that was the weak part of the movie, and that's one of like, oh man, I wish it had kept like, whether or not I think the people should, some people should die,
right?
Because that's just life.
I'm gonna push back on that because imagine if they didn't have that like ass kicking scene at the very end.
No,
a lot of people would have been like, dude, I wanted to see him like kick some butt. What happened? He's just like, it just kind of fizzled off. So I think they just put that in there, just be like, just to satisfy the masses. Yeah. Like, here's your Batman movie. He's gonna kick some butt.
But we got that though. The first time we went to the club, and the last time we went to the club. Not like a wrap up, but we did get to see him kick some ass.
Right.
Twice. I do agree.
But so, like I'm speaking more of as like finale.
And I get your point, because you have a product you want to sell, and the third act you have to sell that product for the audience. And I think they sold it. I think I loved it. And it worked for me. Yeah. But I mean, like I said it, but then you go back to what he said, I can't be everywhere at once. But here you made him like basically save the entire stadium. And I feel like sometimes people in real life, even Batman, in this Batman, people will die. And it is what it is. All that stuff. It wasn't, I'm nitpicking, like I said, I'm okay with it. I love the way he came down on that thing.
Yeah, the explosion at the top, and then he just floats. Awesome. Yeah, that was very, like, that was a Batman scene. That was Batman.
Yeah. So I appreciated that the most. And so man, I just love this movie. And I feel like we were treated so well with Matt Reeves directing this movie. Do you guys have anything else you guys want to add? Anything that you thought was that you guys liked? We talked about the Batmobile. Freaking awesome.
I also liked the way that Batman took damage. He wasn't just on God mode the whole time. He got punched, he fell, he got hurt. he had to like revive himself, like and like when he fell when he was on the
Oh
wingsuit,
yeah.
like he took damage.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
he's a human.
So this goes back to what Dave said. You don't have to explain everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're not stupid. When I saw that, I was like, steroid mode.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just put in steroid.
I
was like,
thought
"Holy
I thought
cow."
of Bane. I was like, that's got to be the same stuff Bane uses. That's what
It
that
has
is.
to be, right?
Yeah.
So so good, man. I was like, God mode. But I'm so happy that they made it that way, because if it wasn't that way, it wouldn't, I don't know, it would just be weird. But man, it's so good. I
Yeah.
appreciate that the most.
For
Trying to
sure.
move my table. My table's everywhere. Sorry. Okay,
So
so
you talked about the Batman, you talked about the different camera angles, and that was one of the first things I noticed with when he started tailing the Catwoman is they
yeah,
did different camera angles on the motorcycles too. From like a POV to like the character on the motorcycle to the wheel spinning. So they really were creative and it wasn't too much.
yeah.
They definitely took their time in the cinematography. I like that.
Yeah.
Well, Paul, I was telling Dave at the beginning when you were having technical difficulty. It's the same. It was the same cinematography that did Rogue One, and
Okay.
so you noticed that one scene when he went into the club, and he was fighting those guys with the machine gun, but there was no light. It was just dark, and the machine gun
Yes.
is what the light. It's the same shot that Darth Vader came in Rogue One. If you
Okay.
go back and think about
Yeah.
it, so
Now that I think about it, I was watching. Like I said, I was watching Dark Knight Rises, and there's a little. It's very short, but it kind of
yeah,
has a scene that resembles that. Like
yeah.
all of a sudden, Batman's like in the camera's face, like bouncing around and stuff. But I like that scene in the Batman is way better, and I I
Here,
I kind of appreciate they put that in the trailer
I do
because
too.
it shows this is
Yeah.
a different type of Batman movie.
I do too. So let's wrap up. We've been. This is a question I asked Pari. I'm going to ask you, Dave. 2 questions. Where do you rank this Batman movie with all the other Batman movie?
Oh gosh, it's number 1 for me.
Wow.
Dude,
Wow.
I don't know what I would put
Alright.
above it. The Dark Knight's a close
respect that.
second. It's a close second, but I don't know, man. Like we already talked about the fact that they don't assume the audience is stupid and explain all the tech to how gritty Batman is, and
Yeah.
man, like and like being kind of a Batman fan, like the nod to Year One, to Hush,
The Long Halloween.
the Long Halloween, like so many, like it's hard to like compare. Like the Dark Knight was good and it was one of the best portrayals of the Joker, but as far as portrayals of Batman, it was just like, okay, fine.
Right.
So as far as portrayals of the Batman, this is
Okay.
probably number
Wow,
1
you have
for
it number
me.
1.
Yeah, man.
I like
I
that
really don't
argument,
know
though.
what I would put
This
above
one is
it.
for the fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what I would put above it. I honestly don't.
Paul,
I
did you
almost want to change.
Yeah, you changed your
I
mind.
almost want to change it because, like, Dave brings up a really good point. The only reason that Dark Knight for me would be above this one is because of the Joker, but it's not a Joker movie.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
Batman movie. This should be a Batman ranking. So, you know what? I'm going on record. This is number 1 for me. Thanks, Dave.
Wow.
Yeah. All right.
Wow. Wow. Guys,
Because it's a Batman movie.
I
It
can't.
is.
You
As
make a
much
good
as I
point.
love Heath Ledger, take Heath Ledger out of The Dark Knight, that
Yeah.
movie would fall a few. Actually,
Yeah, he made that movie.
I agree. I have made this my number 1
Yeah.
movie.
There we go.
I can't do it, dude. Like, if it's a Batman movie, it's got to be about the Batman, and this
Yeah.
was about the Batman. As much as I love Dark Knight and I love it, I think the third act in Dark Knight compared to the third act here, that one was the weakest because you can't suspend reality on that one. Reality is I would push that button for my kid. That's
Yeah.
just reality.
Right.
So another question is, where do you rank Robert Pattinson's Batman compared to the other ones? Oh, this one's tough.
As a holistic character,
Yeah.
he would be right up there with Batfleck. I like Ben
Okay.
Affleck. I like Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. I like him as Batman. Um, and I love Michael Keaton as well, but like he's a product of his time,
Yeah.
and I'm sure the Flash will give him some redeeming
Well,
characteristics.
and he's gonna be in
Yes.
qualities.
Batgirl too.
Right.
So,
So he's right up there with those two for me. I can't officially give. I can't go on record for that.
okay. Can't go on record. Okay, what about you, Dave?
I think a lot of people praise Christian Bale,
Yeah.
and for good reason. But that was written like that, and he, the thing that makes his portrayal weak is there's like two scenes. Okay, so he wakes up, does his push-ups,
Oh yeah.
and says, what does a guy like me do? And Alfred's like, he drives sports cars, date supermodels, and buy things that aren't for sale. And the very next scene, he does all three of those things. And I'm like, okay, that's whatever. He wouldn't do all that, like, to really make a point. Fine. And so his dual hat, his mask, if you will, he does a good job, but as far as like portraying like the actual trauma that someone that like has the history of Bruce Wayne would portray, like, who does it better than Pattinson does? Who portrays that mental illness better? Nobody does. But as far as I'm in agreement with Paul on Batfleck. I really liked Ben Affleck's Batman. He did a really good job, and it was better in Batman v Superman than Justice League, both iterations.
Yeah,
in my opinion. But it's like he's past all of the hard stuff about. It's not Gotham. It's not Batman in Gotham. It's Batman with the Justice League. That's what both of those ones are.
Mhm.
So I'm going to put Pattinson up there at the top. I am. He's the top.
Wow.
I can't go there yet. I can't go there yet.
Who's your
Can't
number
do
one
it.
then?
I've Ben Affleck so far.
Okay.
But I think I need to see this movie one more time.
It's not. He's not Batman in Gotham. He's past all that. He doesn't care about all that. He doesn't care about Gotham in that. This is Batman trying to redeem Gotham.
Yeah, this Gotham was more what a Gotham should be.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree. Best portrayal of
yeah.
Gotham we've seen.
And I think that's the best way to put it. I think I put Ben Affleck and Robert Pattinson 1A, 1B right now.
Equal, huh?
Okay.
Yeah, I can't give it. I think Robert is gonna move up. I have to see a sequel. And see where it lands, because
Batman.
So let's give this movie a ranking out of 10. Paul, what would you give this movie?
I'll give it a 9.
Oh wow, hi. What about you?
9.1.
There you go.
I give this
Jeopardy
9.
meme.
I give this
Price is Right.
Yeah.
I probably give this 8.9.
Oh, all right.
8.9. Okay.
Because the one person that was miscast should not be in there.
Agree to disagree.
I can't do it. I'm seeing Transformer.
I think he did fine. I just don't know who I would rather see.
I agree. I think
about
he's
that, yeah.
exceptional, a very exceptional what's it called? Actor. I just think he was miscast. I don't fear him. It does not look frightful to me.
Yeah, that's a good
in my
point.
opinion.
That's a good point. But he was a rat.
He was a rat. El Lada Latte.
Ratalada, or whatever
I
it
can't
is.
say it.
Rat with wings.
All right, folks. That was good, guys. Thanks for joining me. Really appreciate your time. Thanks, Paul, for coming. This is your first time on my podcast, I believe.
It is.
It is.
Thanks
And it
for
won't be
having
the last. Won't be the last.
For sure.
Because we have Doctor Strange coming. We
Oh,
also
yeah.
have Fantastic Beasts, which I'm probably the only one that's looking forward to it.
You're alone on that.
Fantastic feasts in order to eat them.
Okay. Can I just say I'm excited for it, but why did it call it Fantastic Beasts when it has nothing
Because
to do
the
with
Fantastic Beasts are going to be what helps the team
No.
take down
the
Grindelwald.
beast? The
They're
title
going to
is
rely a whole lot on those Fantastic Beasts.
the title is The Secret of Dumbledore.
And Dumbledore's going to rely on those fantastic beasts. Mark my words.
I'm excited for that. And so I do recommend, hey, there is a movie, folks. If you were looking for something to watch that's weird and that's like that will throw you out of you, like throw you for a loop, go watch on Hulu Fresh. It has Sebastian Stan, the Winter Soldier. He's in it. I told Paul about this movie. Go check it out. Like, don't read anything. Don't look it up. Just go watch it and tell me what you think of the movie. Because it's when I watched it, I came home. I'm like, what the hell did I just watch? It was incredibly well
What's it
done.
called?
Fresh on Hulu. Go check it out. I recommend a lot of movies for Paul. He didn't like The Power of Dog. He takes me, man, this movie's boring.
I haven't seen
Frick
that one
movie,
yet.
dude. Don't watch it.
No, dude, don't say it. Dude, watch it. Just because one person doesn't like it doesn't mean it's a bad
I'll check
movie.
it out. I'll check it
Jeez.
out. The other recommendations I liked, like I watched Coda. I liked Coda.
Coda was good. Yeah,
Coda was
I
awesome.
watched that one.
I
The
wish
Green
James
Knight,
was.
I really liked the Green Knight.
Green Knight was good. Paul didn't see that.
I didn't watch that
Yeah,
one.
it's a good one. It's
Um,
interesting.
Coda won SAG.
Yeah, that's
award.
right. Yeah.
Oh, good.
So that means is that when you have if you win the SAG award, it usually you get an idea who's going to win for Academy. And I had Coda as my dark horse. Remember that, Dave?
Yeah, that's right.
So it should be coming there. So, anyways, folks, I want to thank you guys for joining us on this The Batman Conversation. Let us know what you think of the movie, what your thoughts, what you like, and what you didn't like. Especially if somebody was miscast in there, let us know on the comment down below. Subscribe to my podcast, Tom. Talk Story with Tom. You can find Dave. Where can people find your podcast?
The Nerd Thread
And
or D-Bavo. That's
There you go.
D-B-A-V-O. It's a fun one too.
And Paul, where can people find you? You're a vlogger.
I make YouTube videos. You can find me at Paul Kra. That's K-R-A, and on Instagram, Paul WK with periods in between each
There you go.
letter.
So these guys are making content. I watch Paul's vlog every time he puts it out. He does a lot of what do they call it, skimboarding.
Skimboarding, yeah.
Skimboarding is
It's fun stuff.
Trying my best to make it a skimboarding vlog, but I'm not getting there.
Although, hey, you found that beach. That looks fun, dude.
That
That's
is
the-
That was a gem, man.
yeah,
You
that
gotta
looks
go there
really
one day.
cool. In California, you don't find that. That's rare to find. And then you put it out on YouTube now. So now,
And now everyone's gonna
I
watch.
didn't even tell it. I didn't tell her where it was. I told you
Well,
personally.
That's true. So, anyway, folks, thank you for listening. Remember, be kind.